The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
I'd fit in this darn chair.
It's like my ex-husband, he's 6'4", and he drives a school bus, has for over 30 years, and the bigger it gets, the smaller the seat gets.
I'm going to put that right there.
Okay.
That's my recording device.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, today is the 27th of November, 2011, and it's 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm here with Denise Ann Florian, and this is in regards to Quartzsite Police Case 11-00734, a tampering with a witness allegation occurred on about the 22nd of this month. Denise, what's your full name again?
Denise Ann Florian.
Okay, are you known by any other names?
My maiden name is Welch.
Okay.
And my other married name in high school was Jones. Denise Ann Jones and Denise Ann Welch.
Okay.
I haven't used Jones in 19 years.
Okay. Yesterday we met briefly, and you handed me a 3-page handwritten statement about an encounter that you had with a Jennifer Marie Jones. Do you know Jennifer Marie Jones?
Yes.
How do you know her?
Through Quartzsite and the town meetings and her political ways of, I don't know, I just met her.
Okay.
First time I met her was at the post office.
She's an acquaintance, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Do you know what kind of work that she normally does?
Supposedly does animals, bathes animals, or has a pet place.
Okay.
Pet grooming place.
All right. You told me about an encounter you had with her about 10 in the morning on what we've determined was last Tuesday, which would have been on about the 22nd of November. That would have been following the last regular town council meeting?
Yes.
Okay, and where was that encounter?
It was in front of the town hall. She was sitting out there with a rest in peace, and it said something about for freedom of speech.
Okay.
And when Melissa and I walked past her, she goes, "You've got a colorful past. It's going to..."
You know, I walked from the town hall doors to my car. That's it. You know, I was trying to come through.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You know, I heard them bickering, and right then I decided I didn't want to be involved. I got in my car, and that's all I heard. You know, and I don't know what words were said or whatever. Because to me, Denise is just as much in the wrong as Jennifer.
To be exposed on the 14th of December, and I said, "Yeah, I do have a colorful past. I've got 6 kids. I have a very good past, you know." And she goes, "No, we've got 2 people coming in from Anaheim. They're going to wreck your credibility in court to prove you're wrong."
Did she tell you who these people were going to be?
She said my ex and Michael's ex.
Okay, and you know these people to be whom?
Lorenzo Arambula and Patricia Roosh.
Now, yesterday when we talked and you expressed your concerns about Arambula, you said that he's a convicted felon?
Yes, he was busted for methamphetamines.
So, a drug conviction. Did he serve time in a state prison?
He served time in jail, and then he did an 18-month program out of Westminster, California, a drug program.
All right. That sounds like it might have been a drug diversion program. Do you know if it is, sometimes when they do that, they get their conviction adjusted down to a misdemeanor level offense?
Yes, it was. Yes.
So he was initially arrested for a felony, but then adjusted to a misdemeanor. Does he have any other convictions that you know of?
Just a seatbelt one.
Oh,
and
that's
then I had a restraining order on him.
Okay.
But he wanted me to go through this program with him. What happened is I had the restraining order on him because I couldn't have the drugs around my children. So I went to court to the judge in Fullerton, California, and I said he wants me to go through the program and help him go through this. So he took the restraining order off.
Okay. How long ago was all this with him?
I think it was we're in 11, 8, 9, 10, 11. It was 18 months for the program, and Michael and me together we've been together 28 months. if I had a calendar, I could tell you exactly.
So it's been at least a couple of years?
It's been
2 or 3 years?
It's been 3 years.
Okay,
Say 3 years, because he was in October of 2009. Oh, he went back to jail one time because he broke that restraint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
It was
mostly
3
looking
years.
at, and we talked briefly about this, I'm mostly looking at, and again, I'll assure you to not worry about all of that. It doesn't really have any impetus to the case that we're talking about. Now, let's go back to the encounter with Jones on the 22nd. You said Melissa was with you, and you've since told me that woman was named Melissa Rogers. She lives at the Quartzsite Apartments.
Yes.
And what's her relationship with you?
She's Michael's son's girlfriend.
Okay, Mike Florian.
Michael Roosh.
Michael Roosh is his name. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought his last name was okay.
No, we're not married yet.
Okay, all right. Then, how does Mike spell his last name?
Reush.
All right.
Okay.
Well, and yeah, we'll see what Melissa does at some point. She's all haired out, and you had a conversation with her this morning by cell phone, explaining my needs to interview her about this situation. And hold on a second, let me see if I can get some help. Hey, Sergeant Garcia. Yeah, could you turn that radio down slightly, please, for me? It's just drowning my interview out.
She's so nice. I like her.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, going back to what we were talking about. This encounter with Jones, was this...
Do you want me to close that a little?
Well, yeah, you can close it down a little bit. That's fine. Maybe that'll help. We got to have it on because she's the field unit today,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm trying to do this investigation, and we're actually both the field units. We have to be able to hear for emergency calls. Now, Melissa's indicated that she's hesitant to cooperate or to help with this situation. What was that all about this morning when you talked to her on the phone?
Because she's afraid of her family and afraid of those people, and she's been here for 10 years, and she's a single mom, and she doesn't want anything happening to her family. If these people get a hold of her name, or that she goes to court, she's afraid of what they could do to her, or they might do to her.
That's the same reason why we're here.
I told her nothing will happen to her. Nothing will happen to her children.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Well, we'll see where it goes with her. I mean, ultimately, she can either cooperate with the investigation, or she can be subpoenaed by the prosecutor to testify as to her observations that day.
Yeah.
Going back to the 22nd, and Jones making this statement about bringing people. Did she specifically say your ex and Michael's ex?
What she said was, you know the two people that we're bringing in from Anaheim, California. They know you very well.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember exactly.
When she said we bringing in, did she elaborate who we were?
No.
Or was it just her talking?
It was her talking.
Was anyone else around her at the time?
There was, but they were far away. I don't know
Were they
who
with
it was. No, she was by herself.
Okay. All right.
And I said, and she said about my colorful past, and I was a smart ass. I said, yeah, look at your colorful hair, you know.
Okay. All right. And what else if you can tell me the specific language that she used in the conversation? I mean, what we're looking for, when someone tampers with a witness, they either make a statement or they commit a certain act that leads the person to believe that they are going to absent themselves from the trial or not testify, or to be intimidated from testifying. What did she say if that happened? What did she say that made you believe that she was trying to keep you from testifying?
How do I put this? What did she say? She said, and then she goes, well, remember when we were at Taco Meat? And I said, yeah, I remember when we were at Taco Meat. And I said, yeah, I want to talk to you outside, because she was rubbing her boobs in Michael's face, and Michael and Andy.
She was actually physically contacting him?
Oh my God, she was like right in there, and I'm looking at her going, what the heck, you know? Okay. So I looked at her and I says, we need to talk outside. I didn't touch her. Mm-hmm. So Andy got really afraid and says, Michael, let's follow those guys outside because I'm afraid.
Who is Andy?
Andy Kiss. Andy wanted us to go karaoke. We don't go to bars, so we went that night for Andy.
All right.
And Jennifer was there. Jennifer Jones was there. The ex-mayor was there, and some other people were there. And so I took Jennifer outside. I said, you really need to stay out of Michael's face. And she goes, I'm not doing nothing wrong. I'm not doing nothing wrong. And then we got into the thing about her. First she said the police pulled me over for a ticket. This is how it started, Denise. And I says, I don't even know what you're talking about. And she goes, they pulled me over for a ticket. I refused to pay the ticket. And now they won't let me have a vendor's license. And then there was this officer that grabbed me by the arm and broke my arm. And I said, you're so full of crap. I said, your arm ain't broken. You're over here dancing and singing. So anyways, to make a long story short, she agreed that the officers did not break her arm or sprain it. And Michael and Andy were sitting right here by me. And Michael's just shaking his head.
Was this one after you went outside?
Yeah, Taco Mia? Mm-hmm. Yes. So she admitted it.
So Michael Roosh and Andy Kiss came outside with you to...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because she said over here in front of town, in front of town hall, besides saying that two people were coming from Anaheim to ruin my credibility, and she said, I also got 3 people, she goes, if you show up for court on the 14th, I've got 3 people that are coming in to testify that you grabbed my arm and put your hands on me at Taco Mia. And I said, WTF.
Did you use WTF or did you say something else?
I said something else.
Okay.
But I wanted to be polite.
All right. That's all right. And that's,
it's what the...
Well, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand that. And that's all right. I mean, that's a normal response to that. So fast forward or going back to the 22nd, and then this is what you were both referring to as to...
The only reason why I knew she was talking about my ex-boyfriend, Lorenzo Arambula, is...
Also known as Larry?
Yeah, I call it this.
Okay.
Is because she said the key words. My children hated Larry. Hated him because he was a drug addict. I broke up with him because of it. She goes, I also heard all 6 of your kids hate your guts.
Well, she got it distorted, I guess, huh?
Yeah, because what it is my kids hated me being with Larry. They didn't hate me. I have a very close-knit family.
How do you suppose that she got this information?
I have not a clue. The only thing, Star on Q Watching Eyes had, how Star always videotapes all the meetings and everything?
Yeah.
My ex cannot let go of me for some reason.
I don't even know what to say to you anymore. I wish you would have been a part of my life to where I've gone, now that I'm on the city council, and you're nowhere, nowhere, but in the garage, in your mother's house, with fucking a girl that you say is a girl.
He has a girlfriend, but he cannot let go of me. He Googles my name, watches every move I make.
Has he been out here since you've been in Quartzsite?
I haven't seen him. I can't say yes or no, but I haven't.
What kind of work does he do now?
He sits on the computer, smokes speed, and drinks Crown Royal. He's an electrician, but he doesn't work. He lives in his mother's garage. He says he's waiting for his mother and his grandmother to die because he's going to inherit 2 houses.
Okay. Well, great. Now, when Jones was talking to you on the 22nd about this, after she told you about bringing these people to ruin your credibility or whatever, what other language or what other words did she use, that, if any, that made you feel that she was trying to keep you from testifying?
She says, if you go and testify, we're going to step on you like a bug and squash you. And I said, whatever. And she goes, you know how low you are, don't you? We could squash you real easy and get rid of you. That's what she said. I says, I'm low. I said, I think you're a little lower than me. And she goes, no, you're really low. And by the time we get done with you and your credibility, Dana's going to walk. That's what she said. And by that time, I wanted to go over, but I turned,
All right. So now you, at some point, either had an awareness or made a conclusion that she was referring to the case specifically that Dana Joseph Stadler is facing for touching your buttocks on or about the 5th of October this year. Okay, well, I arrested him for that, and you got an injunction for harassment
Yes.
against him on that, yeah. Okay, did she refer to any other cases or any other investigations, if at all, that she was trying to deter you from testifying about?
No, that's the only case, and that was one with Dana. She said, we're going to ruin your credibility, and Dana's going to walk.
Okay.
And
did that seem to, was it offered in a way that seemed to frighten you? I mean, is that the fact that if Stadler walks on the charge that he will come back after you again? Or
yes,
I mean,
it does.
what
It really that worries me, because when we were at Silly Al's a few months before that, Dana wouldn't leave me alone. He kept coming at me and coming at me and
I remember
coming
that was
at me.
discovered in the investigation that in fact, I'd even heard about that, and I elaborated about that in my report leading up to, and actually after I arrested him on that case, that we started on the 5th of October for touching you. And that added to my probable cause at the time because of the history of his advances, inappropriate advances toward you at Silly Al's in history, and to the fact that Mike had to counsel him and tell him not to.
So did David, Michael's son David. He went up to David and he told David went up to Dana and said, "You are disrespecting my stepmother." He always calls me stepmom, and you need to stop. Well, when David walked away and went around the bar to go play pool, because I was over sitting right here talking. I can't remember what bartender it was.
Well, you know what? We don't even really need to go into that's a case that's already been investigated and charged, and it's specifically not the incidents at Silly Al's, but they were supportive of the history of a kind of a course of conduct of Dana Stadler that led up to him touching you at Roadrunner. Was it in front of Roadrunner Market?
Yes.
And you were getting water, yeah.
You know what scares me the most is if this man gets out, and with a threat he made towards me, and he says, I would love to kidnap you, take you to Wisconsin, and show you what a real man is all about.
It's interesting because Wisconsin, I think, is where he served state prison time for distributing drugs to a minor. So, I wouldn't let that worry you too much. But what my concerns are, with this encounter with Jones, how long did the encounter go on between you and Jones? Would you estimate? You said it started about 10 in the morning.
Yeah, it was like 5. Yeah, it was 9:50. I had to leave because I had to go to work with Michael and those guys. We left at like 10 to 10. First, she was sitting when we walked in, she was sitting at the front, and then when we walked out, it was like 10 to 10, and she was sitting on the first bench right there.
And that's where she accosted you?
Yes, okay. Yes.
And she initiated the conversation?
Yeah, she goes, "Yeah, you've got a colorful, we can't wait to expose your colorful past." And I says, "Yes, I do have a colorful past. I've got 6 kids, I've got baseball, football, basketball."
Or whatever counts. How long did your encounter with her go outside?
A good 5 minutes until I had to take a deep breath and realize who I was dealing with. Okay. And I had to walk away because I was getting angrier and angrier.
Did she make any other references to the test? Did she persist in this thing, or did she make any threats of violence to you, or violence to anyone of your family, or Michael Bush?
I don't know. And what happened was when I got fed up, I put my hand up like this to her face, but I was like far away. And she goes, just wait. You'll see him on the 14th. He's going to walk because your credibility is going to be ruined, And I know my credibility. I mean, I'm not perfect. I do have a couple tickets, but that was like 20 years ago.
That's nothing to worry about. It doesn't have anything to do with this case. So. And like I explained, I think that the introduction of any witnesses at any point in the case against Stadler for him assaulting you is going to be very carefully controlled by both the prosecution and the defense counsel, because they don't want to do anything to, violate his rights in the improper introduction or improper procedure. And the judge is also the arbiter to control the proceeding, not Jennifer Jones.
I cannot believe that he got bailed out. That's what scares me.
Well, they're bailing him out. They're all, he's part of their. My theory is that, and he even admitted it to me. When I talked to him, I asked him why does he keep doing these things, and he has nothing going on for him in his life. So it's excitement, and he likes the attention that Jennifer Jones gives him. So now, in her whatever her perception, she feels that she's got to be his advocate, and in the process, it appears that she's committing more crimes doing so. So, what?
what else? Excuse me, I'm sorry I didn't mean to interrupt, but I do remember her when she said about ruining my credibility. She goes, and we're going to prove that you're on drugs. And I says, no, you're the one who's on drugs, not me. I've never been in trouble.
That is so crazy.
And I said, I don't even drink. You know, I says, if I do, it's once in a blue moon.
Well, you don't even have to justify your private life to someone like that.
Yeah.
What I said before, yesterday when we first met about this incident, and this morning before this interview, and I'll underscore it again, you need to seek an injunction prohibiting harassment against Jennifer Jones, to not have any contact with you. The standard admonishments to stay X number of feet away from you, whatever it is, 150, 200 feet away, not to go to your place of residence or any place of business that you maintain. And just seek that injunction either through the magistrate or justice court so that we can get it served on her. In the interim time, I need to find out from you or Mike or his son if we get Melissa Rogers settled down.
Yeah.
Now, how old is she again?
I think she's going to be 27 on the 30th of November.
So she's an adult,
young.
and she has children,
yeah.
but she should be at least mature enough to understand the way of things and her hysteria. I need to explore her hysteria about Jones. Why is she so intensely afraid of her?
Yeah, so when on the phone she said to me, Denise, I know her, I heard her saying how she's going to expose your colorful past, you know, and I you know, she got upset, so, and...
Well, yeah, she needs to calm down and needs to decide if did Jones say anything to her?
No, no, nothing at all.
Nothing was
Nothing at all.
All right, well, what I'm going to do is, let me, I'm going to be right back, just hang loose for a second, and I'm going to read something out of the statutes to you, to see if this, to make sure that we're on the same page.
Oh, good.
We're tracking this up here.
These people feel they're above the law, you know, and that's what Larry and Patricia, Michael's ex-wife, to be. They feel they're above the law. And
Yeah, what's Patricia's name?
Her name is Patricia Reusch, R-E-U-S-H, and her middle name is L-Y-N. And if you go and Google her name, she's been busted for methamphetamine, she's domestic violence, there's a restraining order they put on her to come near Michael.
How is Arambula?
A-R-A-M-B-U-L-A, Arambula.
Do you remember his date of birth?
April 10th, he's 3 years younger than me, I'm 51. It's April 10th, I forgot what year he's born, 63 or something? Wait, I'm 51. He's 48 now. I think it's 48, 47. I don't know, I have it at home. I tried to forget. It's 4/10/63 or 64.
Okay. How about Reusch's R-E-U-S-C-H?
R-E-U-S-H.
Do you know how old a woman she is?
She's born on December 25th, and she's saying...
Christmas.
Yes. And she is 57.
Okay, that's going to task my brain. Let's see here.
She's born in 54?
54.
And her middle name is L-Y-N.
Not two N's. Huh?
No, just one.
All right. What is Lorenzo's middle name?
He doesn't have one, but he uses Raphael. Raphael.
Okay, a.k.a.?
And he lives in Silk Beach, California.
He uses Lorenzo Raphael?
Yeah, he just when he gets high, he likes Raphael. It's weird.
Oh, jeez, okay.
He has nothing better to do, like I said, but sit on, you know. And he likes to talk to women in Manila or whatever, the Philippines.
Okay. Patricia Reusch, now where does she live?
We have not a clue. We know that she is sometimes in Long Beach, sometimes in Orange County.
Okay.
She has if you go to Superior Court of Orange County and pull up her name, you'll read everything.
All right. Well, that'll be up to, if they do get accepted, if they possibly get accepted as witnesses, that'll be up to the prosecution to explore their background.
I think I spelled his name wrong. I have to look at it. A-N-B-U-L-A.
That's the way I've got it.
Or A-R-M, yeah, it's A, something like that. You'll see it.
Close enough
Yeah.
for what we need now. Okay, let me read you this. This is out of the Arizona Revised Statutes, and this is Section 13-2804A, which is tampering with a witness. A person commits tampering with a witness if such person knowingly induces a witness in any official proceeding or a person he or she believes may be called as a witness to, 1, unlawfully withhold any testimony, or testify falsely, or 3, absent himself or herself from any official proceeding in which he or she has been legally summoned. And tampering with a witness is a Class 6 felony. Do you feel that that's happened?
Yes, because she doesn't want me to be there. I told her I will definitely be there no matter what. I said, you could bring in anybody you want.
Okay.
I will definitely be there because I'm right. And she goes, you're wrong. And I says, no, I will be there. You can bring in the Marines and try to testify against me, but I will be there.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, and let's see here. And as I said before, the distinction between influencing a witness, which is what we initially were talking about, and influencing a witness is a person commits influencing a witness if such person threatens a witness, or offers, confers, or agrees to confer any benefit upon a witness in any official proceeding, or a person he or she believes may be called as a witness with intent to, 1, influence the testimony of a witness of that person, induce that person to avoid legal process summoning him or her to testify, or 3, induce that person to absent themselves from any official proceeding in which they've been legally summoned. And that's a Class 5 felony, just one grade higher than a Class 6. Either way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to complete the investigation as best as I can and then submit it to the county attorney's office for a charging authorization. And we'll see how Mr. Wiedemann responds to our urgings on this case. But in the interim time, I want you to get that injunction against her.
Do that tomorrow.
And you may want to get new injunctions against Lorenzo
and Patricia.
And Patricia
there is
Rich.
one against the state of California. Put one on
It's
Patricia
good, it's good
for
to
Michael.
the United States. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you can get the video. I'm trying to remember the day that we went to Taco Mio. It was in August. I don't even know if they might have video.
Are you talking about this encounter when you asked her to step outside?
Yeah, to talk to her.
I don't really care about that. I believe that it happened that way. And, you're the only one that has told me about this. If she has any issues or had any issues with that, or for that matter, any other encounter that she's had with you or anyone else, she has the duty to come to the police and to tell us about that. And
that's what I told her. I said, you're pretty stupid. I said, if I put hands on you, why didn't you report that to the police right away? Now you're going to bring it up. I said, look who's going to look stupid.
Speaking of kettles calling the pot black, she's not credible. She's a chronic misdemeanor offender who's facing, I don't know how many, at least maybe 10 or 12 misdemeanor charges, and now looking at the prospect of facing a felony. At some point, I would think that most people in this community, and certainly I can speak for the rest of the entire police department, she's not credible. The way that I can tell that she's lying is her lips are moving and words are coming out. So she is the proverbial girl who's cried wolf, and I will, as anyone of us will do, we'll do our duty to protect her in an emergency, but, after the fact, I'm not going to believe anything really that she says. She's worn out her welcome in courts on this.
Yeah, she also mentioned something about, because Michael's ex-wife-to-be tried to get 2 restraining orders on me, and the judge threw him out of court because
this has nothing to do with the case of Dana Stadler touching you. That's crazy.
But that's what they're going to try to use, and if that's all I have against me, they weren't even. The judge dismissed him because he lies.
I look at that urging as being part of the mechanism that Jones is trying to use to keep you from showing up or keep you from testifying. And that is part of all of this. In her mind, she thinks she's this great legal whiz, but she's really committing crimes as she's doing this. And that's all part of her modus operandi to try to intimidate or to get somebody to believe her nonsense and to believe that she's going to do all these things and to thereby to induce them to not testify. So,
I forgot about, I don't know if I put this in the paper, but she goes, and she said something about the way I dressed.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Because she said, going in the way you were dressed to court is going to prove the way you are. And I wore a dress down to my knees with heels because I like to wear dresses sometimes, you know. And I says, I can go dressed any way I want. It doesn't matter. Look at you, how you're dressed.
Dress
Purple
appropriately
hair.
for court.
Exactly.
Be
You
business
have
casual.
to be. You know,
Sure.
you have to be dressed.
I wouldn't even concern myself with that.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm going to do is, do you have anything else to add that would be appropriate about the encounter with Jones on the 22nd, where she was trying to keep you from testifying or trying to get you to be afraid to testify in this case against Stadler? And we're talking about that assault case that happened on about the 5th of October that you had me investigating. Is there anything else substantive that you can think of? That's,
I told her, I said, you can do whatever you want. I will definitely be there because it doesn't matter what she says or does. I'm not going to be afraid of going there. I have Michael, I have you guys behind me, and Michael's going to be there. I have you guys, the police officers there.
Do you feel that her contact with you in this manner and the statements that she made against you was an attempt, or at least an effort, to try to keep you from testifying?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Would you think it was necessary? Do you think the encounter was necessary? Was it inappropriate? I mean, did it have to happen?
No, it didn't have to happen. You know, she did that on purpose.
She initiated the contact with you?
Yes, she did that on purpose, trying to scare me, because she's scared a lot of other people in this town. You know, a lot of people are afraid of her. But I
don't know why.
I don't.
I just don't know why.
You know, and like Melissa, she's got Melissa afraid. You know, and
sometimes people like this, they count on that happening, and that's how they empower themselves to believe there's somebody that they're not, and that they're more important than they really are.
But she doesn't. It's like I told her. I says, you know, you've messed with the wrong person. You can't scare me and not coming. You know, and not going to this
okay, good.
thing.
That's good. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the interview. It's 11:30 in the morning.
Okay.
I've been in law enforcement over 30 years, and I've been in this area for 27 years. I worked for the sheriff's office before coming to Quartzsite. I'm now moving up on my 28th year in La Paz County.